Yo, welcome to another one of my Unwrapping Sam videos. I'm speaking so softly because my mom is next door and I don't want to bother her too much. I was going to do a very different video this time, but oh well, due to unforeseen circumstances, I'm not gonna be able to do it for a while. I was doing a headstand at the beach and going up it was kind of okay, but then when I was meant to go down back on my feet, I literally smashed my shoulder against the floor. Instead of falling down like a normal person, I fell absolutely all my weight on my shoulder. I'm lucky that nothing is broken, it's just a big sprain. I'll be able to come back to the piano kind of soon, which is something that I can't wait to do again. We are so delicate as people, particularly when you're a musician and you injure yourself. One of the worst things for me this period has been a really interesting period of growing up and learning about me, learning how to take care of my mental health. For me, structure is basic. I have a motto: freedom is structure. The more limited, which is not the word I'm looking for, the more structure I have, the more free I am. I organize everything around my piano practice. That's how I am productive the most, and right now that I can't do it, it's been a bit of anarchy, which I'm fighting against. I'm finding the way of getting my structure back in a different way. It's been quite challenging, and also I'm worried about this. I'm like, maybe I am not able to play again. I can't think about that. Hopefully that won't happen. I just have to be patient. I'm not doing it very badly. I think I'm doing well, so wish me luck. I was gonna do a piano video, but I can't. I thought I could bring up some musical thoughts out there, because in this channel I don't only want to talk about my personal stuff, I also want to talk about my professional stuff. I consider that both are exactly the same thing. As well as I am transgender, I am an improviser, I am a human being. It's all connected, and I'm gonna tell you the story and you will see how both paths are absolutely connected. They go together. Before I tell you the story, I've had this really interesting question from somebody. I love when people ask me things, and it makes me wonder about things that I never thought about before. How do I actually do this? It's because you guys ask me that I actually stop and think about it, and that's really helpful for me. Please keep asking me things. So this question is, what is improvisation for me? I spent some time thinking about it. Before I get into it, I'm gonna tell you a little about my music origin. Just another question I've also had. When did I start playing music? How did I start? When did I start playing the piano? I started playing the flute when I was around 9 years old or 10. The music teacher at school brought a flute and I was the only kid that made it sound. And the teacher was like, "You're gonna be a flutist." And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a flutist. I played flute till I was 14. I also knew how to play a little bit the piano, because usually when you're not a pianist, you also learn the basics of the piano. When I was 14, I swapped. 14, 15. Yeah. I've been playing the piano since I was 15, 10 years now. It's not a lot. Usually you start playing your instrument when you're like 4, 5, 6. I was playing another instrument before. I kind of started playing piano late, but I practiced a lot. I was so lucky. I found a very good teacher. She pushed me a lot. I made it, so I'm here. This is just like everything else. If you want something, just fight for it. I practiced many hours. I knew I wanted to get into the conservatory. I just practiced and practiced. If you want something, fight for it. So I started playing piano when I was like 14. I was a classical player. I don't want to say I was a classical player. I am a classical player. But when you think about a classical player, you will never think about improvisation. The same way, if you hear somebody is an improviser, you will think about jazz. This is not correct. I am a piano improviser. I am a pianist. I am a classical player. I actually started calling myself a pianist this year. I've always been a piano student. I would always say I am studying piano, even though I finished my piano career 3 years ago and my master's 1 year ago. To be a musician is something that goes way farther than earning a title, than just like becoming somebody that has made it through all the conservatory official years. It's something comes from here, and from here. Finally, now I'm starting to think I can call myself a pianist.
What was the point I was trying to make?
So I'm a classical pianist. I just like to say pianist. I don't like labels for anything. The least labels, the better. I find it a bit sad when we think about improvisation, we only think about, folk music. In the past, classical music was always related to improvisation. Improvisation was a really important part of the classical world. We have lost that improvisational tradition in all the pieces. When we would have a repetition, which is a lot of times people would always make something up in the moment, ornamentation, different musical figures. Right now we're not really able to do that. Classical world has changed a lot. When I finished my career, I went to London to study my master's. By that time I hadn't came out as trans yet. I was using my old name, my dead name. I had really long hair. I used to dress, everything was really different. I decided to move out to London. I got into the classical master's at Guildhall in London 3 years ago, and since the first second I came into that school, something clicked on my head. The massive change of environment. I suddenly felt safe. We've spoken about this in another video. I got there and I was like, I can be myself here without knowing, and it came out as transgender and it came out as an improviser, if you can say so. I became an improviser at the same time I came out as transgender. I didn't really become an improviser. I guess that's always been with me. I just did not know. The same in my personal field. I did not know I was trans, but I was. And that all came out of me when I felt safe, free. I could just be myself. I fought for it. I went to see that director of the school and I was like, I don't think I am in the place where I should be. He was the nicest person in the entire world. He looked at me and he was like, you're telling me all of this with a lot of passion that I'm just gonna listen to you. And then from that day my life changed. They helped me a lot. They kind of made a master for me. They were amazing to me, and I just was able to explore in depth the improvisational field. I've been given jazz lessons, composition lessons, classical piano lessons. I never stopped learning every single day since I went to this amazing school. I developed myself as an improviser, composer, pianist in general. I just don't like to separate any of that. I just developed myself as a musician at the same time that I was developing myself as trans. I basically exploded and let everything come out of me. When I was there, I met incredible instrumentalists. They would just go on stage and play 3 Rachmaninoff concertos, and then as an encore they would play Prokofiev 3rd concerto. But then they are just not able to play anything new if they don't have the score. It's not that they can't, because they would be like, no, I'm not good at that, I can't do this. I don't agree. That's why I'm talking about this, because I am a classical player. I was raised the same way, practicing my pieces, not practicing anything creative, practically creative, only being able to sight read, to play all these hours, to gain technique, to be able to memorize pieces and then playing them by heart on stage. Now that I see everything from a really different perspective, I discover why things have changed for me, and I would like to bring them up in videos for people to see that it's actually possible to improvise and to be free. I don't mean that if you're a classical player and you can't improvise, it's not that you're not free. Don't take me wrong, it's a really delicate subject. Because I am a classical player, I think I can talk about it. It's all my experiences and all my opinions. People can perfectly disagree with what I'm saying, but I believe if you're just a musician that can't improvise, it's just because you haven't tried before, or just because you haven't tried it the right way. What is improvisation for me? Improvisation for me is the goal, is to be able to be free, to be able to push further, to fly on the stage, to absolutely tell people what's going on in the moment for you. Improvisation for me is all I need. Improvisation is the point, isn't it? The point for the classical world is to be able to reach perfection. I think that perfection does not exist, and that being obsessed with reaching that point of performing a really hard piece on stage, the most perfect, clean, absolutely musical, trying to make people touch the skies with your ability to tell a story that is already written in the most perfect and pure way. And at the same time you have to be original. It's very hard to be original and creative when you're not able to change anything that's written. Of course it can be done, and it's a challenge. I do believe the classical structure, the classical way of training is really important. We all as musicians should learn from the classical world. Also as non-musicians, if you're a musician, you will learn the structure, how to be organized, how to push yourself as much as possible. Something that classical music has really essential is organization. Always trying to find the best way of doing something, always trying to be perfect, which which is a blessing
and a curse.
If you're not a musician, you also should benefit from classical world. It will feed your soul with peace and beauty. I encourage you, if you're not into classical music, that just have a look. It's just an incredible world. Music in general is an incredible world. About this blessing and this curse, being a classical musician many times is really frustrating because you're trying to reach that perfection that you have to seek for all your life. You probably end up not finding it because it does not exist, and that often ends on you being really angry at yourself, feeling that you haven't done enough, getting into a circle because you have to reach this perfection. You have to practice all day, you still don't find it, and you become really obsessed. I'm talking from personal experience. I've done that before. I've been obsessed with pieces. I've never been happy with the way I played them. All my life I felt that something was not quite working the same way I felt that something was not working for me as a person, as like a cis person. Before coming out as transgender, something was not working for me as a classical player. Improvisation for me is the lack of fear.
The lack of fear.
Is going on a stage and knowing that whatever I do is gonna be right. Trusting myself, be able to find new things without being compressed into the boxes that many times the classical world makes you fit in. I'm not saying that that is negative. For many people, I am sure that works. For me, it does not. There's actually something that I can consider a mistake for me. It's not like everything is valid if I am improvising. If I lose my rhythm when I'm playing, I get so pissed off. That's for me a mistake. When you're a classical player, you go on a stage and you have a lot of things to do, a lot of expectations. You know that you have to reach a level of perfection that is probably not gonna make you enjoy the journey. You're playing a concert, you're giving music to people. Most of the time you're afraid of doing it wrong or of what people will think. What if I forget this? What if I play this wrong? If my sound is not soft enough in the pianos?
What if the balance of the room is not good? It's not good. It's not good. What if?
Being on a stage playing a concert, such an unbelievable experience. Playing concerts for me is my life, absolutely is. If I had to choose something out of everything I do, I just want to be able to play concerts. That's all that makes me happy, to share my music with the people. It was when I started improvising on stage for people live that I realized about how incredible it is to create music in the moment, to communicate absolutely what you're feeling with that people that is there that have came to hear you playing. All the music you are creating on the spot will be affected by the color of the skirt of that girl in the front row or the lights in the room, what you just ate before, and it's just you being yourself. I can't lie. When I am improvising, I'll never be able to tell a story that isn't true for me. Such an honest process. It's me with the piano, just being surrounded by all these people and being connected with them, being able to just like create something completely new in the moment. It's not gonna sound ever again. It's organic, it's live, it's alive. I believe that people can do it and they should do it. Of course, it's perfectly valid that you don't improvise on stage. I'm not saying this because I mean what I do is what is right. I am basically just encouraging you to improvise if you have never done it before, because I think it gives you absolute freedom. It makes you reach another level with your instrument because you're able to play that instrument, to express yourself in a really direct way. Whilst sometimes we can get really frustrated by trying to bring this chord to the next level, and sometimes we lose what is the real objective. Each person is different, but for me, the objective is to bring to people the best of me as a musician and as a person. And this I can do through improvisation, is what I am and who I am. Also, I'm really perfectionist when I'm playing. It's not that I go on stage and I train a lot to do that right. I love that music is alive, such an amazing learning process, and again, I encourage you to do it. I'm gonna upload some videos. When I am able to do it, I will do videos explaining how I think you should approach improvisation if you have never done it before and you're a musician, things I do. To conclude this video, I can say again how important for me is the classical world, how incredible their way of seeing music is. And I also can say that the way they teach us has a lot of musical creativity but lacks of practical creativity, which is something that I'm working on a lot on my own and I want to share with you. I have been a straight classical player before and I never fully felt the way I was meant to play on stage and the way I was meant to do things. I've always been somebody that looked for my own place, personally, professionally. If something is not working, I try to find my own way. I've always been a really cheeky child. It ended up being the right thing to do. I encourage you to do so too. If there's something that you don't feel right with, why would you have to leave with that? Try to go around it. I'm sure there's a place for you. All the time you invest on yourself, on working on your own happiness, will always be time well invested. I am realizing right now, you probably can see how this shoulder is a bit swollen still, right? I hate seeing that. It makes me so sad. I'll be more careful next time. It's my fault. To fight for what you want. If you don't do it, who's gonna do it for you? And yeah, all I can say, please keep asking me things. I hope I made clear what is improvisation for me. It's just basically everything. I'm coming from a classical world and I'm using the amazing tools that classical world has given to me to absolutely be free. This I have found by myself. That's why I'm talking about the lack of practical creativity that the world has for me. I really want to put together something that has musical creativity from the classical world and the practical creativity that I'm working on at the moment. Let me know what you think about this. I really hope it helps you. I believe that if you have never improvised before, you can learn how to do it. This depends on you being brave enough to break that little boundary that we all have. You have a technique, you have ears, you can hear. All you need is not to be afraid, to not be afraid. To be brave, to go on a stage and to be able to be free. It is the best feeling
in the entire world.
I hope we can talk more about this. I forgot to mention a really important situation for me. The trigger for my improvisation to start coming out of me like water running out of a waterfall. The summer after I finished my career, before flying to London for good, I was playing a recital in this amazing theater in Spain, Segovia. As an encore, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even really improvise on my own. I don't understand why I did this. It just came out of me as an impulse. And I went to the audience, and please somebody tell me 3 notes. And people told me 3 different notes. And then I just sit back on the piano and improvised a waltz. I think it was a waltz. And the feeling and the connection with the audience, the answer, people loved it. It was my favorite part out of the whole concert. I want to do this. Then I went to London knowing what I wanted to do, but thinking that I would never be able to do that because it was not really a course. It was not really possible to study improvisation like this.
Whatever.
I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, where you can find my concerts, or you can see what I do if you are interested. I hope I can be able to come back with some music kind of soon. I'm actually gonna try to make the music for this video only with my right hand. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you're well. Over and out.